Here today with us we have Father Jim Schwab from St. Walter's Church. Thank you, Father, for taking time out of your schedule to talk to us.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
First off, what are your thoughts about censorship in the media?
I think one of the things that's interesting, especially when in regards to religion and in the church setting, when it comes to censorship in the media, I think what you got to look at is how does the media view the church, or even any church. And recently there was a survey that was put out about the church attendance of people, and it was 43% of Americans go to church, at one time or another, throughout the week. And I think it was the press was also given the same survey, and there was 8% that actually went to church. So I think a lot of times censorship comes from their not understanding maybe what the church is about or about the issues that affect the church. And so they might be censoring us only because they have a weird filter because they do not experience maybe what we experience. So I see a lot of censorship as really just not understanding the subject and then coming across with their own bias because they don't know what they're talking about half the time, So.
Interesting. Do you think censorship serves as a benefit by avoiding controversy and sheltering children?
What do you mean by sheltering children? Like the idea of not letting them see the world the way it really is, or
maybe possibly like nudity or swear words or controversial topics, maybe like homosexuality, even stuff like that.
So things that aren't in the media because of those things.
Yeah,
I think sometimes we use that as our excuse for why we don't do things in regards to censoring. There used to be a lot more standards for TV and stuff. But I think ultimately, the individual person is responsible for themselves, and in some cases, parents are responsible for what their children watch. And so, from that standpoint, if you know what they're watching, whether they see something you don't agree with or not, you can make it a moment that you can teach them. So, I don't know if I'd want to let the government or anyone else have total control over what should be or should not be censored, because I think parents are ultimately the ones that should do that for the children.
Do you think that hiding this material or language provokes children to just want to obtain it more in a more rebellious manner instead of just talking about it openly and responsibly?
What was the first part? I didn't catch the first part of the question on that.
Do you think that hiding this material do you think it just provokes children to try and obtain it in a more rebellious manner?
Well, I think in some cases, right. It's always that thing about whether something is permissive. If you allow it or don't allow it, will a person look for it? So I don't know for sure. I do know, once again, that if a person is responsible for themselves, they can make the choices. Children have to be kept from some things until they can make those choices themselves, though.
What ethics should censorship be based on? And should it be based on the morals and ethics preached in the Bible or in the church?
Well, that's interesting because, now that our country's become more and more secular, so it's not really religious oriented. You're not even allowed at places to put the Ten Commandments out as a code of ethics or a code of conduct anymore. Where do we get our values, As Christians, we believe in the commandments, but we also believe in what we call the natural law, that certain things are right or wrong according to the natural law. But even that's being questioned today. So yeah, it's a good question. What do we use as the basis of society's rules when everyone is kind of multicultural and have their own ideas of what's right and wrong, Till mores, things that used to be seen as something that was wrong, 30 years later might be seen as okay. It kind of changes with the society. So.
What kind of harm do you think uncensored material will have on people?
I guess the harm is that not all people are able to make choices for themselves. If something's readily available for them, I think they are readily available to them. They seem to have a tendency to just go along with what you can get away with or what is available. And so I guess you got to hope your society is formed around the values so that if something is available or legal, it's not necessarily done because it's legal or available, And I think that's a tough one.
It's very interesting. Okay, thank you for talking to us.
All right, good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.